Hello and welcome to another episode here on my channel. My name is ChaosMole, and in today's Rising video we will take a deep dive look at horses and how they can help you or how they can actually seriously hinder you in what you're doing in the game. And I know what you might think. Wait, horses? Like, come on man, I just get a horse, I ride from A to B, that's the end of the story, right? No, it isn't. There's a lot more to it. So first, let's have a look where you are getting horses. Then we are talking about the benefits, the things you have to look out for, and how you can basically get the best horse for the situation you are in. So, where do you get horses? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. Everywhere. Like, you can find horses even in the first area, even though they are a little bit more rare there. But the moment you are getting into the second area, you would just drown in horses. Like, there's even a horse track right over there where there are just tons of horses spawning. And the respawn time is also like super low. It's pretty simple to just sneak in there, steal one, and then go back to the first area if you are not ready yet to go into the second area. Keep in mind though, horses need some care. You have to give them water so that they can actually survive. I can show you this very quickly here with my horse, who has a lot of water, well actually just 6, and it will survive for 45 hours. If you don't give them water though, well then they will die at about 6 hours. So be careful about that. Speaking of dying, yes, horses can be killed. There are tons of enemies which will try to knock you down from the horse, and then they will still try to attack the horse, or be careful where you park your horse. I made a mistake a few days ago that I ran into the mine with my horse and I was parking it around here, and the undead respawned in that area. They saw my horse and they were thinking, breakfast. And my horse was dead when I came back. So be very careful where you park that, because it might be a target for whatever is walking around. So be careful about it. It would be a shame. But now you might say, okay, so that's how I get my horse, but what's really the difference? Well, as you might have already seen when I showed you the water interface, you can also see that horses have stats. Different stats. Like, as you can see, they can change quite significantly depending on which horse you find. And of course the question is, what does this all mean? Well, let's talk about the things you are seeing here. Max speed is how fast that horse can actually ride. Then we have acceleration. It's how fast the horse can reach the max speed. And the rotation speed is how fast the horse can turn. So it's pretty straightforward. But what does that mean from a practical perspective? Like, isn't 8.8 max speed horse really that much of a difference in comparison to a 10.8 max speed horse, and so on and so forth? And the answer is yes, there are huge differences there. And let me put that in numbers so that you actually understand how big that difference can be. So we have my fastest horse here with 10.8, and I did send it against this horse with 8.0 on how fast I can actually ride from A to B. So I tested out 2 routes. I used up here, I was running a short track from this intersection to this one, and with the slow horse it took me 16 seconds to go from A to B. With the fast horse it only took me 12 seconds. So that is already 4 seconds faster by just what? A 2 speed or 2.8 speed difference? That's quite significant. Now you might say, okay, well, that's just a short track, right? Like, what is when you have like to ride for a long distance? So what I did is I was riding from my second base to my first base down here. That is over 1 kilometer from here to here. And I was trying both horses. I was running at night, I didn't get dismounted, I didn't get stuck, and I took the same route for both horses. So, what did I came up with? Quite a significant difference I came up with, I can tell you already that, and the slow horse with 8.0 speed took 2 minutes and 30 seconds to achieve this distance. My fast horse with 10.8 max speed only took 1 minute and 54 seconds. So about 40 seconds less. Just think about that. You are riding around quite a bit in this game. And later on, that might be a difference in minutes or even hours. So make sure that you have at least one horse which can really go max speed, because you want that. Okay, now the next question is, of course, which of those stats are really the most important ones? Well, that is kind of situational, I have to admit. So let's talk about max speed. As I already said, like, max speed seems to be like the most important thing, because the moment you are starting to ride long distances, max speed is the one which will cut the most time for you. And you can even outrun arrows. Like with this max speed I'm having here on the horse, I can outrun arrows, right? So even like archers have a tough time to actually hit me and dismount me. So max speed, I would say, is the most important stat on a horse, depending on the situation. So this is good when you have to ride from A to B, if you want to go on a farm route, or if you're on a PvE server and you don't really have to fear PvP. Acceleration, in my opinion, looks like the least important stat, because, like, as you can see here, the numbers are already very close, besides of this one with 3.7, but this seems to be the acceleration per second. So when you have a horse with just 5.5 acceleration per second, then it doesn't even take the horse 2 seconds to get to max speed. And even on my fastest horse, it takes the horse less than 2 seconds to reach the max speed. So as long as you have a good, decent number, acceleration becomes less important, right? Like this one here would take more than 2 seconds, and that is probably not so great. But yeah, if you find a good middle ground for the acceleration, you should be good. I never had really a situation where I thought, man, if my horse would just have reached faster speeds, then I would be happy. And yes, I know the sun is coming up, so we have to look out for that for a second. Now let's talk about the rotation speed. And the rotation speed is very interesting. So this is very important when you are getting stuck somewhere, or you have to outmaneuver, outflank PvE mobs, or even in PvP when you are fighting against other players, and mount combat is actually something you want to think about. Rotation speed is very important because you can evade attacks, you can evade special attacks, and you can turn around faster to hit an enemy again. So rotation speed does become important under certain circumstances. So what's the difference? And this is very interesting. I did run some tests. So I did take this mount right here, and it has a rotation speed of 12. Then I took this mount, which has a rotation speed of 13.8, and that is only 1.8 points faster. But what does that mean? Well, I did a pretty simple test. I was sitting on a horse and I was turning around. Like, how long does one turn take with just 1.8 points of difference? And the answer is, with the 12-point horse, it took me 2.9 seconds to turn. So nearly 3 seconds to turn around. With this horse here, it only took me 2.5 seconds. So that was already significantly faster, right? And that was just, and they're pretty close to each other when it comes to the rotation speed. So if you would ask me, okay, what is the most important stats here? Definitely max speed. Acceleration for me, find a good middle ground of like 5.8 or 6.0 or something like that, or 5.0, right? That seems to be a good middle ground, and you should be golden with that. And when it comes to the rotation speed, it's not the most important stat on the horse, but it is the second one, because you want to outmaneuver PvE mobs because you don't want to get dismounted. You want to outmaneuver rocks, trees, or whatever is coming up. And if you are playing PvP, it can mean a death or life situation if you can rotate fast enough when you are on your horse. So keep that definitely in mind. I try to find a horse which has really good stats. You can find horses where all the stats are pretty high. Like, as you can see, max speed 10.8, 6.0 acceleration, and 13.5 rotation speed. So this is a really, really good horse. Can it go higher? Yes, but this is where you really have to be lucky. And seeing the stats before you have actually like mounted a horse for the first time, giggity, there seems to be no way, or I haven't found a way yet. I'm actually hoping that they will add like a solution for this. But right now you have to mount every horse before you can actually see the stats, and it just takes super long. So especially at the beginning, try to find a horse which really is like in the higher stats. Like 10.8 speed, as you can see, is a pretty high speed in comparison. Right? Yeah, I have seen some horses where you can reach like 11 point something, but it's like, then you barely have any acceleration and barely any rotation speed. And I'm always wondering if that is really worth it. So again, TLDR, go for max speed. Rotation is important in certain situations. And as long as you have like a 5.0 acceleration on the horse, you should be golden, because it's not too important really. But with that said, we are at the end of the video. If you have any more questions about horses, just let me know in the comments. I will try to answer it. And if you enjoyed this video and you're on your way out, I would appreciate if you leave a like. If you're new to the channel and you want to see more V-Rising guides, I'm also doing Lost Ark guides for months now. I do gaming news, also reaction videos to game announcement and big like gaming conferences. I love to do that, have done that for years, especially when I was coming from a games journalist background. And yeah, if you enjoyed all the things I just mentioned, I would appreciate if you might consider to subscribe to the channel. If you ever want to catch me live, playing all the different video games and talking a lot about gaming news, you can find me from Monday to Friday, starting at 9 AM ET, which is 2 PM UK time and 3 PM Central European time, over at trovo.live/ChaosMole. You will find a link in the video description. And on Fridays, I'm streaming here on the YouTubes. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed your stay here. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And with that, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.